It was a perfect storm that got me into addiction, but it's also been a perfect storm that's gotten me into recovery.
She could be your neighbor, your best friend, or even your own daughter. Tonight, we're taking a hard, honest look at addiction. It doesn't care about your address, community, background, or income.
All across Western New York, families and communities are hurting. 316. That's how many people died of opioid overdoses in Erie County last year.
Tonight, we're going beyond the numbers, beyond the stigma and the judgment, and introducing you to a young woman who could be any one of us. Alyssa came to us with a story of hope, one that shows even in your darkest hour, help is out there, and that there is life after addiction.
The shoreline of a frozen Lake Ontario is a serene setting for Alyssa Pashong on her journey to recovery. She's a picture of health compared to what she looked like 9 months ago.
It was literally a picture of a person that was on death's door, that was almost dying if they didn't receive medical attention.
Alyssa overdosed on heroin and crack cocaine in a Tops parking lot in May 2017. Someone saw the then 25-year-old lifeless in her car around 2:30 a.m. and called police.
And the next thing I remember, the cops were knocking on the window. I didn't even know where I was. I had no idea what was going on.
This mugshot represents the end of a very dark, years-long chapter in Alyssa's life. And it all began when she was still in high school.
You know, I was just an average middle-class suburban kid.
Alyssa's teen years were pretty standard. Field hockey, prom, a boyfriend, and a desire to fit in, which ultimately led her to experiment with prescription pills.
Hydrocodone, Oxycontin, you know, just things that honestly kids' parents had at home. They were in the medicine cabinet.
That recreational use was made even more accessible in college when doctors prescribed her hydrocodone for a knee injury. She and her boyfriend at the time were taking the pills several times a day.
At what point does it take a dangerous turn, a noticeably dangerous turn for you?
When those prescriptions ran out. And now all of a sudden I have a big problem.
By then, she was desperate to relieve her withdrawal symptoms. Without access to pills, she turned to heroin.
I'm going into parts of town that I would never, I stuck out like a sore thumb, but I didn't care about that. And I didn't even realize it. Like I had a mission. I didn't want to be sick.
Her perilous transition is all too common. Federal data show about 80% of people who use heroin first misused prescription opioids. And Alyssa's family was naively funding the whole thing out of fear.
Well, I tried to make everything right for her. If she couldn't pay her rent, I'd pay her rent. I paid her rent for many years. I leased her a brand new car, and she never made one payment on it.
Alyssa's father and mother begged her to go to rehab, but she was an adult in denial. They could not force her into treatment. It was only when she nearly died that she turned a corner, realizing she needed proper help. The same weekend she was found in that Tops parking lot.
We get right to our top story now. Disturbing news tonight concerning the opioid epidemic.
There were 8 overdose deaths in Erie County. She faced several charges from that night, including drug possession. A judge mandated inpatient treatment.
Now I look back and I'm like, well, maybe thank God that happened, because that really woke me up.
No, it is. It's very nice. It's like clouds.
Alyssa now lives with her dad in Wilson. She's 9 months clean and still goes to regular outpatient therapy. She wants everyone to know about the many faces of addiction.
Hey, I'm not alone. Look at this. There's places that are made for people just like me, and they're full.
I'd like to think that Alyssa's still with us so that she can help in this time of drug addiction.
She is an incredible young woman, and we want to thank Alyssa and her family for sharing their story with us. They have asked us to hammer home this fact, that if you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, help is out there. You are not alone. Right now on WKBW.com, you'll find a list of resources, including counseling centers and treatment facilities right here in Western New York. Just click on the link, Life After Addiction. Guys?